Practicing with a metronome is something that we've all been told to do. Nowadays you can get really great apps for your phones that are free. You can get them on both Apple phones or Android phones. I've got one on my Android phone, and it's just something free that you can download. It's absolutely fantastic. You know, practicing with the metronome on the saxophone compared to this incredible instrument is what I find it's completely different. You know, of course, because when you practice on a saxophone, the you know, the mouthpiece is different, and the tubing is different, and breath control is different. Your phrasing is going to be different all round, and not only that, because the sound that you're making on the saxophone is always going to inspire a different type of articulation that you hear, or that perhaps you're influenced by. And I think it's that the sounds that you're influenced by that make the difference in the way you feel time, and the way what you blow into an instrument as well, because the sound always comes from here. That doesn't just mean the tone of the instrument, but also how the tone is expressed through time and feel and groove. And is that each patch you have on this instrument, you've got to consider it as an instrument in its own right. Okay, so really consider each patch as an instrument in its own right. On the example that I'm going to be using here, I'm using kind of an electronic sound, like a keyboard sound, just for this purpose only, because I want to try and make the point across that even though it's just an electronic sound, you can kind of make it sing by the end of the day. But there are also other sounds that are a lot easier to be expressive on. For instance, like the flute sounds are beautiful. There's a trumpet sound you can get, or you can download as well, and even voice sounds as well, vocal sounds, as well as percussive sounds like vibraphone and stuff like that, and electric guitar sounds as well. But each different patch that you use, consider it as an instrument in its own right, and they only really resonate, what I've found, they only really resonate within different octaves. So the higher octaves here going to the middle octave, going to the lower octave, and of course all these different thumb rollers, they make that possible. So yeah, think about the patch, think about how the patch works, and how the patch has its own unique phrasing as well. And you know, try and master all of the sounds. Who knows? It's up to you. That's your decision. But for me personally, I've got about a handful of patches, between 5 and 10 perhaps, that I've got preloaded into this, and they're the ones that I concentrate on, and they're the ones that I practice my phrasing on, using a metronome, of course. I think this is quite a difficult instrument to try and make notes swing on, because it's, by the end of the day, if you just play it normally without any articulation or breath control, it's just going to come out as an electronic sound, right? An electronic tone, like a keyboard does have. And I think that's the unique difference between this instrument and just a keyboard, because you can make notes sing more on this, I find personally, through the articulations you put into it and the breath control you put into it. I've done a little demonstration for you here of me just playing along with a metronome, and just playing through some functional harmony, and going through some different time values that I'm using within my phrasing of crotchets, quavers, swung, triplets, and semiquavers, and just to sort of exemplify what I'm saying, that, you know, this instrument, it can sound like something more human as opposed to a keyboard. Why am I making this point? Because I get a lot of flack for playing this instrument sometimes, and I don't believe it's right. Yes, it's an electronic instrument, but because it's got breath control, it's an electronic wind instrument. Because it's got the breath control that you can apply through it, and so many different unique specifications that you can apply to this instrument, you can make it swing and kind of make it sound human by the end of the day. Bye.